Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Sunday, June the 19th, 2022, and I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach. I would like to start off the program today here and just wish everybody a happy Father's Day. I hope you're having a great day with your dad or with your kids, or certainly some in your heart if they are with you or aren't with you. So shout out to all the dads out there. Hope you have a fantastic and wonderful day. And let's hope that you can pile on your awesome Father's Day with some daily fantasy sports takedowns. We're going to focus on this podcast on the Major League Baseball schedule for today. We're going to cover all 14 games. Only game that we won't touch on is not on any of the multiple slate options, and that's the 12:05 Philadelphia-Washington game. So if you're playing that solo, go at it. It's Zach Eflin versus Jackson Terrell, and it's a 9.5 over-under, 5.45 implied for Philly, 4.05 for Washington. All right, we're going to concentrate on these 14 games coming up. Here at Coach Talk, we provide for Draftkings, Fanduel, and Yahoo, and we provide a coach's clipboard and or a DK core build of your top 6 plays. And then on Fanduel and Yahoo, we are providing full cash and GPP lineups. So we've got everything you need right here at Coach Talk. We'd love to have you join us. This is a great time to join Coach Talk. We have all kinds of things going on, obviously with a lot of Major League Baseball, some great PGA, and we have the final round of the U.S. Open today. That should be extremely interesting. I know I'll be enjoying a lot of that here on this Father's Day. And we've put out some lineups this morning for our members. So if you want to jump in Discord and catch that late round MLB lineups that we put out there, lock isn't until after 1 p.m. Eastern. So got plenty of time this morning to get those lineups in. In joining us, you just go to dfscoachtalk.com. You can sign up right there for as little as a 3-day membership for $10. And you're in, no hassle, right in Discord. You get everything that we've got, including all our MMA, NASCAR, MLB, PGA, everything down the line here. So we would love to have you join the family. We have the best Discord in the industry by far. Everybody's supportive, backs each other up. Just a great feeling there, and really makes it a lot more fun. So, all right, here we go. Game number 1 of the 14 games. We're going to do a quick brush through the games, discuss them very briefly, and then we're going to go over our normal plays, our pay up, pitchers, value, certainly our fade, BVP, HR, stacks, and our prize pick selections for the day. We'll also have additional selections for our members in our Discord. All right, Tampa Bay Rays at the Baltimore Orioles. Nice weather here. Looks like it's going to be sunny and 73. Light 16-mile-an-hour wind blowing in from left. It is Corey Kluber for Tampa Bay, 460 with a 4.64 implied total for Tampa. And then Jordan Lyles for Baltimore pitching with a 3.86 implied total. And that's an 8.5 over-under in that game. 135 also, San Francisco Giants at the Pittsburgh Pirates. Another beautiful game. It is going to be a little cool, 73 degrees, but a slight 10-mile-an-hour wind blowing out to dead center. And in this game, we've got Alex Cobb versus Mitch Keller. San Francisco-Pittsburgh game has an 8.5 total, 4.86 implied for San Fran, and a 3.64 implied for Pittsburgh. Cool temperatures, but a little wind blowing out. So does set up a little bit more in that stadium for a pitcher's game, but certainly that breeze out to center won't hurt. All right, next, another 135er, St. Louis Cardinals, Boston Red Sox. This game also very cool, 61 degrees at game time. A little bit of a 13-mile-an-hour wind blowing in from left. So certainly good pitching conditions in this game, but the over-under is still very reasonable. It's Andre Palante against Nick Pavetta, and you've got 9 total in this Cardinals-Red Sox game, 4.11 implied for the Cardinals and 4.89 for Boston. So very interesting game there. Really think Pavetta's in a nice spot. The next one's 137. It's New York Yankees, Toronto Blue Jays. And it looks like it may be played in the Dome unless they open the Dome in Rogers Stadium. We'll update that in our Discord. But right now it looks like Dome closed because it's so cool. It is Luis Severino going for the Yankees and Yusei Kikuchi for the Toronto Blue Jays. 9 is the total, 4.98 implied for the Yanks. So, when you get by that 5 number, certainly a stackable team. And then a 4.02 for the Toronto Blue Jays. Next game, 140, Miami Marlins and the New York Mets. Another nice cool temperature, 73 degrees, slight wind blowing left to right there. So, Mets Stadium in those conditions, pretty decent for pitchers. And you've got 2 really good ones here. One, I think, probably the best pitching matchup of the day. So it's Sandy Alcantara against Chris Bassett. Totals only 7 flat, 3.29 implied for the Marlins and 3.71 for the New York Mets. So pitching duel in the making here. 2 pitchers that are certainly very rosterable. Next one is Texas at Detroit, and theme continues. Just nice temperatures here, only 74 degrees, hardly any wind at all. It's a 140 game, and Dave Dunning takes the hill for the Rangers and Drew Hutchison for the Detroit Tigers. Your total in this game is 8 with a 4.39 implied for Texas, 3.61 for the Detroit Tigers. So pretty even game here with some pitchers that have been touched up a bit. So maybe some hitting going to be available in this game. Next one is 140 game, Milwaukee Brewers at Cincinnati Reds. It's Adrian Hauser for the Brewers and Mike Minor for the Reds. Certainly not 2 guys that are on fire by any stretch right now. And that leads to the bigger total here. A nice 9.5 overall total. And every time you play in Cincinnati, America's ballpark there, it's a home run fest a lot of times. And this sets up to be a good one to roster. You've got 77 degrees, so it's warm enough. Wind blowing right to left, very, very slightly, though. So big advantage to the hitters here. And the implied totals show that. Brewers are over 5 at 5.13, and Cincinnati at 4.37 implied. So some stackable guys here without question. Definitely have the Brewers on my stack list today. Next game, 220, Atlanta Braves, Chicago Cubs. It is Ian Anderson against Kyle Hendricks. 8.5 over under here. Same scenario, warm enough in Chicago at 77. A little bit of breeze blowing right to left. Some good implied totals here with an 8.5 over under. 4.71 for Atlanta, so nice number there. 3.79 for the Chicago Cubs. Next one's the only game on the entire board with any weather issues whatsoever, and they're not severe. There are a chance of on and off showers. Doesn't look like it's going to be the type of rain that would cancel a game. They should get it in. I don't think it rains until maybe sprinkles mid-game towards the end. So pitchers wise, not the best spot maybe to go. Plus, when you see the numbers here, it being a Coors game, you're not going to want to go there anyway. But the temperature is fantastic. It's 88 degrees. So the ball should carry, and it is blowing straight out to center at 14 miles an hour. So you know what? We've got hot weather, wind blowing out. It's a Coors game, two teams that can hit a bit. You got a giant 12.5 total here. Blake Snell for the Padres, Antonio Senzatella for Colorado. 6.62 implied for the Padres, 5.88 implied for Colorado. So not only do you have one team with a high number, you've got the second team with the second highest number. So is Coors avoidable today? I don't think so. Not with this weather, those pitchers. I'm hoping that the ownership doesn't just get ridiculous. Maybe that slight chance of showers will scare some people off. But I don't see how you don't either stack or have a piece of this game rostered. And there's some cheap prices in the middle of down from the Padres lineup and really up and down Colorado's lineup. There's a lot of very affordable pieces here, and I certainly will have some of those. All right, 407 game, Kansas City Royals, Oakland A's. It is Brady Singer versus Jared Koenig. It's a 7.5 total, 4.08 implied for Kansas City's the Kansas City Royals, 3.42 for the Oakland A's. And again, great weather here in Oakland, 76 with the wind blowing out. That's unusual. Oakland's usually cool. They're playing later at night, but it's a 4:07 Eastern game. So this is a 1:07 game in Oakland, and you got warm weather, and I think you may see more runs in this game than that 7.5 number. And Singer and Koenig aren't exactly stoppers. So as bad as Kansas City and Oakland are hitting the ball, I think you can take advantage of a couple of one-offs from both of these sides. Then we go to another 4:10 game, Minnesota Twins versus Arizona Diamondbacks. Chris Archer taking the mound for Minnesota and Merrill Kelly for the Arizona Diamondbacks. In a dome here with the humidor, so you got a 9 over under, 4.60 for Minnesota, 4.4 for Arizona, 4.6 for Minnesota, 4.4 for Arizona. And again, with the heat in the Arizona area there, they'll play with that dome closed probably the rest of the summer. Another 4:10 game, Los Angeles Angels, Seattle Mariners. Kenny Rosenberg for Los Angeles, and for the Mariners, Logan Gilbert. 8 over under, another dome game, 3.47 implied for the Angels, 4.53 decent total for the Mariners. Definitely some one-off potential in that game. And then the last two games, you've got a 4:10 game, the Guardians versus the Dodgers. Low totals here. Shane Bieber is pitching for Cleveland, and Andrew Heaney for the Dodgers. Total's only 7.5. It's going to be 80 degrees with an 11-mile-an-hour wind blowing out to right. So a little bit tougher scenario for Bieber and Heaney here. Two teams that can hit the ball. And, this should be a very interesting one. I would like some exposure here. It's only a 3.33 implied for Cleveland, though, and 4.17 implied for the Dodgers. But certainly going to keep an eye on that game. And then the only evening game is normal on a Sunday. It's a 7:08 game, Chicago White Sox at the Houston Astros. And it is Michael Kopech versus Christian Javier. Nice matchup there. In the dome, 7.5 total, 3.28 implied for the White Sox, 4.22 for Houston. So, a little touchy there. Two guys there that can pitch well. I'm not diving over top of myself to roster really a lot from this game. I respect the pitchers enough. The hitters are decent. but somewhat cancel each other out. All right, let's dive right to the goods here. For my pay up and value pitcher, I'm going to do a 1 and 1A selection here. I didn't have the specific pay up pitchers that blew me away that I thought, you know what, I've got to have this guy. He's 10 whatever, and then I'm going to find a cheap SP2. I found what I think is it is somewhat of a buy up on the sites, but not all the way to the top. And there's enough value with these two that it makes perfect sense. And the first one is Bassett. I think that Chris Bassett's in a great spot. He's been pitching really, really well. He's been consistent, and he'll get you some strikeouts. He's not going to strike out a million guys, but he hasn't been as sharp throughout the entire season, but he's been on a pattern of pitching much, much better. And he's facing a Miami Marlins team that just is not a good hitting squad. It's that simple. Even their 2, 3, 4. I mean, Chisholm's been not good at the top of that lineup. Cooper's had a tough year. You have to watch Soler. He's certainly their best hitter, but he went 0 for yesterday again. But then when you hear the bottom of that lineup, Garcia, Birdie, Astudillo, De La Cruz, Rojas, Stallings, that does not scare me whatsoever. And Chris Bassett, I think, is due for a good game. He's had some unluckiness too. He's only 5-4. I don't think he's going to be super owned though, because he has an ERA still of 4, but his whip's down at 1.1. 81 strikeouts is a decent number. So, you can't complain about that. Now, he does throw a clinker in once in a while, and I'm going to try to avoid that. 2 games ago against San Diego, he got hit. 5 games ago at San Francisco, he got hit. But if you take those games out, he threw 55 Fanduel points on the board against Milwaukee, 37 against the Dodgers, 40 against Philly, 38 against Seattle, 32 Philly, 40 Atlanta, 46 St. Louis. Those are impressive outings, and he's consistently 6, 7, 8 strikeouts. So again, you're not probably going to get a 10 strikeout game from him, but he's in a good spot against a team that's not hitting the ball well at all. It's at home in New York, comfortable temperatures. I think a great spot for him. And so Chris Bassett is my 1 and 1A pitcher. The 1A pitcher that goes with him, I'm going to go to the guy that has not let me down yet, and I don't believe that he will, and that's Nick Pavetta. Nick Pavetta is 6-5 with a 3.50 ERA, but similar to Bassett, he's been good. Now, his matchup is definitely tougher. It's against St. Louis. We know St. Louis is very scrappy, but it's in Boston. The temperature is going to be really cool, and Pavetta's been solid. I mean, his string of games here, and I'll go real fast through this, no clinkers. So why have one today? 40, 36, 52, 40, 34, 58, 40, 46. I mean, that's fantastic. Now, last game against Oakland, only 3 strikeouts in 8 innings, a 3-hit ball. But before that, he had 11 and 7 against the Angels and A's, and he's thrown several 8 strikeout games in there. So Nick Pavetta has been solid. He's pitching with a lot of confidence. No, Boston's not the easiest ballpark to pitch in, but when the weather's cooler and, with his control, I think Pavetta is a terrific play today. I really like him. So I'm going to be going pretty much with Pavetta and Bassett across the board, riding those guys as my 1 and 1A pitchers. My fade pitcher, again, I'm going with Corey Kluber. I know he's pitched decent. He's 3-3 with a 3.50 ERA, but I think he's just doing it with Scotch tape and super glue, because he's just picking the corners. He doesn't have the same velocity. Yes, he's an intelligent pitcher. And yes, he's pitching in Baltimore, which now with the way they extended the field there, it is not an easy park to I mean, it's a a good pitcher's park. It did not used to be an easy park to pitch in. But I'm on the bandwagon of, I think Baltimore's hitting is decent. Their pitching's not good at all. But, when you talk about Mullins, Mancini, Santander, Hayes, Mountcastle, the rookie Rutschman, Odor, who's been hot, Tyler Nevin, and Mateo. So you've got a nice, real strong 6 or 7 up top. You could go all the way down the 9. So I don't think Baltimore, even though they're 9 games under 500 and not going anywhere, they hit, and they hit in bunches. And I think Kluber's really due to get smashed. I think he's going to get ownership today because his price is pretty good. It's Baltimore, in Baltimore. Everybody knows that ballpark ranking has changed, flipped from worst to best place to pitch pretty much. But I think all of that will lead to some ownership. And I think Kluber gets rocked today, even though it's against an Orioles team that is inconsistent. So he is going to be my fade. All right, my BVP play for today is a guy that has done me well the last few years, and I love this spot. It's Marcell Ozuna. He's going against the Chicago Cubs and Kyle Hendricks. We know the weather's nice little hitting weather situation in Chicago. He's faced him 37 times. For me, that's a nice BVP number. 14 hits off of him, 3 of them for homers. He's driven in 11, and he's walked 4 times. Ozuna does not walk much. So a nice 378 average, 439 OBP, 649 slugging, and a 1088 OPS. So Marcell Ozuna, my BVP play of the day. Home run play, a little interesting spot here, but I sort of mentioned him earlier. Rougned Odor. Odor has been playing much better. He's hitting the ball. He's in that 6-7 hole, so he's not, under the stress of hitting up in the order. And he's been consistent, and he's done very well against Corey Kluber. Granted, it's in a small sample size, but remember, when he faced him these other times, Kluber was Cy Young Kluber. He was, he could throw it 100 miles an hour and move the ball over the place. But that was before the surgery and all of that aspect of everything. But even against Kluber when he was tough, Odor went 6 for 13, 4 extra base hits. 2 of those were homers, 5 ribbies, 462 average. So, I think Odor, I looked at him and Ozuna sort of as split HR BVP, but I think Odor can take him deep. Like I said, I think Kluber gets knocked around a bit, and I'm hoping Rougned is a big part of that. All right, let's touch on stacks real quickly. And like to say again, if you're watching right now on YouTube, please take a second, hit that thumbs up. That's super important to us. We do these podcasts in front of the paywall 7 days a week. And really the only big ask for us on these podcasts is that you hit the thumbs up on YouTube. You put a quick comment in there, whatever you'd like. Hit the subscribe button. And while you're at it, there's a little alarm in the upper corner. If you click that, then you're going to get an alert every time one of our podcasts posts. And when those premiere, we're generally going to be around in there answering questions and chatting with some of the Coach Talk family. So please do that. We'd appreciate it. If you're listening audio-wise, wherever audio podcasts can be heard, if it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, take a second, give us a 5-star rating, and put a little comment in. Our man Colin's going to go through those at the end of each month and do a random drawing. And someone's going to win a free month of Coach Talk. So to be a part of that, all you have to do again is click the top rating, the 5-star, give us a quick comment, and you will be put in that drawing, and we'll be announcing that here at the end of June. All right, stacks. First one I had mentioned a little bit earlier, but I really like Milwaukee today against the Reds. Mike Minor, the lefty. Milwaukee's got some strong righties that are hitting the ball very solid as of late. And, in that ballpark for the Reds, man, you can pop it out of there so easily. Just a great hitting environment. It's going to be warm in Cincinnati. So the righties I love, 2, 3, 4, 5, Adames, McCutchen, Renfroe, and Urias. If that's what we have as projected lineup. And then you've got a couple lefties that can still, even though it's a lefty, can still pop it out, and Yelich and Tellez. And then we'll fill in the lineup for there. So really the top 6, I'm going to try to have at least a 3-man stack of those guys in my main lineup. The other stack that I mentioned, just mini stack here, 2 or 3 guys. The GPP stack is Baltimore against Kluber. So, pick some guys out of that group. I'd love to have like a Santander, Hayes, Mountcastle kind of stack. And then I'll give the obvious. I mean, we're not big chalk players here. We hand build our lineups at Coach Talk. We use all the tools, the optimizers, projections. We make sure that, we have everything in line leverage wise. Shout out Mike Guess. And we do that with everything, but we do ultimately hand build them. So the Yankees are expensive. I get it, but it's against Kikuchi, who we know gives up some home run balls, specifically to righties. So if you're Kikuchi and you have to face these righties, what do you think you'd be feeling like right now? LeMahieu, a couple of guys by the name of Judge and Stanton, Josh Donaldson, Gleyber Torres, who's been rocketing the ball, Kiner Falefa, Trevino, and Hicks. Hicks is a switch hitter. So you're going to get everybody but Rizzo from the right side. You're going to get 8 righties against Kikuchi. Very hard not to stack that group. Now, can you afford it? Unless you do find an SP2 that's super cheap, you're not going to get a big stack there. I may end up only being able to get 2 of them in unless I go towards the bottom, maybe a third. But I do have to have some Yankees, players at the lineup. There's got to be some exposure to the Yankees. It's just such a good spot against a pitcher that we know can give up some gopher balls. So, all right, last thing we'll do, and then we'll let you guys get on the road here to celebrate and enjoy your Father's Day and get these plays together, get your golf plays in. Hopefully, any of our members listening, check out in Discord. I've got my core build there for DraftKings for late round US Open finals today. All right, I'm going to refresh Prize Picks because this early in the morning, especially, they will be changing a lot of things in here and updating. So we are logged in. And I will give you, since it went to this, just a couple little bonuses here for if you're playing Prize Picks and you want to play the PGA today US Open final round. A couple of things I like today. I like Dustin Johnson over or under. Let's see here. They did not put. Let's change that real quick. Okay. Now it's updated. Sorry about that. I like Dustin Johnson over 71.5 strokes. It's a part. I think he shoots at least 2-3 over. Don't like him up here and playing very, very tough. Who I do like though is our man Scotty Scheffler. He's I'm going to take under 70.5. Now the course is playing hard. There's wind. It's cold. So to shoot under par is no feat. So if you're going to play most of the guys, I would take over their numbers today. I really would. But Scheffler's just looked like he was about to throw, a 65, 66 on the board again today. He's hit the ball well. And when he's on, he's the best golfer in the world right now. So I don't mind that. But if you're playing, a lot of these guys, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Matsuyama, Koepka, DeChambeau, I really like the overs on all those guys. The way this course is playing, you could really string 3-4 of these guys together and play the overs. Because I'm telling you, with the wind, the course setup, those greens, it is nasty. I mean, even par is a fantastic score on this course today. All right, sorry, got a little sidetracked there. MLB, for my plays here, I am going to take Corey Kluber under 4.5 strikeouts. I just, again, I think he gets knocked around. I think he gets knocked out early enough that, he's not going to get it done. Then I'm going to take over pitcher fantasy score 30.5 for Nick Pavetta. Again, I really think a lot of him. I know the matchup against St. Louis isn't phenomenal, but with the temperatures, I think, the ball stays in the park. I think it's just a fantastic play today. And then the third pick, I'll give you a hitter fantasy score. We're going to go with, let me see if the number has changed on him at all, or if they put my other guy in. I am going to go with, is he here? Yes, Willy Adames over 7.5 hitter fantasy score. I think, he's another guy that can really get hot today in that matchup in Cincinnati. I think you're going to see runs there, and I think he's one of the guys that can really get it done. All right, my friends, that is it in a nutshell. That gives you a good breakout of the entire slate. If you're playing, the 135 slate, which is the main one, there's a secondary slate mid-afternoon that you can also play if you want to double up or chase and bail out. But be careful. Do it. As we say here, contest selection and bankroll management is everything. So I'd love to have you a part of Coach Talk. If you want to join us, dfscoachtalk.com. If you're going to play Prize Picks, use some of those golf and baseball selections I gave you today. Go to prizepicks.com. If it's your first time there, use the promo code Coach Talk, all one word, and they will match you dollar for dollar on your first $100 deposit. So thank you again. Have an absolutely wonderful Father's Day. Really appreciate all of you that listen in every day, especially on a wonderful day like today. So have a great one. Enjoy, and we'll certainly be back again tomorrow when we look to crush it in MLB DFS and Prize Picks.